Radio to me has put food on the table for a long, long time. Off and on, I've been in the radio business for more than 30 years. I got my start as a high school kid playing records on a very small community radio station in my hometown. So I think I've always been fascinated with radio. It's always just something I tell people that it's television with better pictures.
To me, getting into radio was part of creating radio. So creating radio as much of it as you can at the highest quality that you possibly can. So
when you hear it in your car or at home, you're not exactly thinking about the person that's talking, but it somehow takes over what you do, and yet you can do other things and still listen and absorb whatever information is coming, whether it's a song or a conversation.
Even in an age of lots of other ways of communicating, I think still has a unique place because, as we like to say in NPR, there's this idea of the theater of the mind, and that for some reason just hearing a story, just the audio of it, just people's voices, the inflections, it kind of forces you to focus down on one aspect of a story, and unlike a lot of other media that can kind of bombard you.
Generations and generations, as long as there's been civilization, there's been some type of music. But recorded music is a different thing altogether. It's just like a painting in a gallery. So when you listen to a radio program, I believe you should present it with the same amount of care that a curator would a gallery show.
To me, the most depressing part is just driving different cities, different states, and hearing the same thing on every channel, the same 10 songs that they're, rotating to death. And so it's really nice to flip to a station and hear somebody go album deep, and here's a song that you didn't hear anywhere else. And I think there'll still be a market for that because people do get tired of hearing the same thing.
The same song that you hear by the same DJ in Pittsburgh will be the same way it's presented in Illinois, in Albuquerque. It's nationalized, yes, but it also, you lose an awful lot of that local flavor.
we've gone from analog to digital, and now it's on the internet. So it's not just produced cleanly with digital broadcasting, but it's also sent out all over the world, not just your little broadcast area that you normally have to contend with. We have a 60-mile radius of our radio station, but with the internet we can literally be anywhere in the world.
I think there's always going to be a need to hear what's going on, and a lot of people forget that recorded music is a relatively young art form. The art of recorded music. People have been performing music, for centuries.
Part of the problem, or the part of the reality on the ground, is that you have an awful lot of little stations that were gobbled up by larger corporate interests. The first thing that they did was cut expenses to the bone, and a lot of times that was local news. So you don't get an awful lot of local news on local stations very much anymore.
You'd have to be in love with radio in order to get into radio now. It's hard because when I started in radio, automation was not really a big thing, and so they needed people to be on the air overnight. So you could get a midnight to 6 a.m. shift fairly easily on a local AM with not much pressure because it's overnight, not many people are listening. Now you need advanced computing skills, you need a love of technology, and you need a desire to find a place that would actually take you in.
Radio is a way that there's always going to be a need to be able to connect, and so I think there'll be opportunities, and maybe it'll change content-wise here and there as far as the public taste, what they want to hear. but the need for radio, I think, will always be there. There'll always be people that will be nostalgic for it. So, as long as there's nostalgia, there'll always be radio.